Hello and welcome to Planet 40k. Today's video is episode 6 of the Deathguard series, and we're going to specifically be looking at the Relics of Decay on page 50 of your codex. So we're going through each of the options here and the best ways to use them. Before we continue, if you've yet to subscribe, please do the channel a huge favour and hit the subscribe button below. We're looking to get to 3,000 subs. Also, the more Deathguard players that are subbed, the more Deathguard videos we're going to produce. So get on board and share it with all your friends if you can. Right, onto the video. If your army is led by a Deathguard warlord, then you can give any unnamed Deathguard character one of the Relics of Decay. There are 12 unnamed characters within the book, so plenty of options. There's a couple of stratagems that give access to extra relics, such as the Champion of Disease and the Gifts of Decay. Also, a little side note here, each plague company has a relic which we won't be going over today. This will be covered when we go over the plague companies. Okay, so on to the first relic, which is the Reaper of Glorious Entropy. So this is in exchange for a Man Reaper or a Plague Reaper. The relic is a melee weapon, its strength times 2, it's minus 3 AP and the damage is 3. It's a plague weapon. Each time an attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified wound roll of a 6 will inflict 1 mortal wound in addition to the normal damage. So this here is the same stats as a Plague Reaper, except firstly there's no -1 to hit modifier, and secondly you're doing mortal wounds on 6s. Now you could opt to give it to your Lord of Contagion, replacing the optional Man Reaper, but that weapon has 2 profiles, one for hordes and one for anti-tank, so by swapping it out you're going to remove the anti-horde part, or you'll just be upgrading this Plague Reaper, depending on how you look at it. The second relic in the list, Plague Skull of Clothilla. So it's a once per battle relic. At the end of the movement phase, the bearer can use the relic. If it does, select one enemy unit within 6 inches of the bearer and roll 7d6s. For every 4 or 5 rolled, the unit is going to suffer 1 mortal wound, and for every 6, the unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. So now I quite like this one. It doesn't replace any weapons, which is pretty awesome. This can be done to characters or anyone within range. Now with the law of averages, you should get at least 3 4+ rolls, and 1 should be a 6. So it's roughly going to score you around 4 mortal wounds, maybe 5. But that's a solid output, and like I mentioned, it doesn't replace its current weapons as it's a freebie because it's a relic, so it's not a bad take. The slight issue is it's only 6-inch range, so it needs to be done on a melee based character. So any of the Chaos Lords or a Demon Prince. You could put it on a weaker character that are within the elite section, such as your Foul Blightspawn or your Biologus Putrefier, but without invuln saves they're at a risk of being killed without you even using it. So stick to any characters that have got an invuln save. If this isn't possible due to the amount of relics you've taken, then put it on one of those elites and go straight for the enemy characters with it, taking them down with you. Because this is done in the movement phase and therefore it's not a shooting attack, so there's no lookout sir here. To be honest, there's probably more efficient relics to be putting on weaker characters though. Demon's Toll is next, which is for the Noxious Blightbringer model only. Once per battle at the start of your opponent's movement phase, the bearer can use the relic. If it does, select one enemy unit within 6 inches, and until the end of the phase, each time that unit is selected to fall back, roll 1d6 on a 2+, that unit cannot fall back and must remain stationary. So this one's very situational. It can be useful if planned correctly. This character doesn't actually have the greatest buffs to be considered bringing at 60 points as well, so you're probably not going to see this one too often. Next is Fugueras Helm, which adds 3 inch to the bearer's aura abilities to a maximum of 12 inch. Now this one I do like, tons of ways to use this one. All the Lords of the Deathguard have an aura for rerolls of 1s to hit, which is a 6 inch, so it's going to go up to a 9 inch. The Lord of Virulence has the Martial Destruction aura as well, that will also go up to a 9 inch. The Noxious Blightbringer, which we previously mentioned, has got its own few buffs. The Biologus Putrefier has the Blight Racks, but the main one that I'd use this for is the Plague Surgeon, turning his 3-inch Feel No Pain save to a 6-inch aura, which will be really useful on an already tough faction. Unfortunately, this doesn't affect any contagion abilities because they're not auras. Next on the list is the Puted Parry Act, which is for your Malignant Plague Caster or a Terminator Sorcerer model only. So the bearer will know an additional psychic power from any discipline it has access to, and then once per battle, after successfully manifesting psychic power, the bearer can regain up to d3 lost wounds. So handy that your psychic gets an extra power. Now we have covered the contagion discipline in another video, so be sure to check that one out at some stage later on. Getting d3 lost wounds once per battle is a bit so-so, and you're not likely to be losing wounds until you've lost all the guys around you for the lookout sir rule. Probably works a little bit better on the Terminator Sorcerer as he got a 5+ invuln save, but overall you're really taking it for the extra psychic power. So next up is the Toll Keeper. It's for the Talisman model only, so it gives your Talisman an aura, which is while a friendly Plague Company core unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, each time a model in the unit makes a ranged attack, an unmodified hit roll of a 6 scores an additional hit. So this is good for your gunline units with core, so your Plague Marines and your Terminators, And this does include a Hellbrute which has core, so you can kit him out to have a fair amount of weaponry with a twin heavy bolter and a missile launcher on top of that, and 6s getting extra hits every turn is pretty decent. Revolting stench vats. Now this is for your foul blightspawn model only. It gives the bearer the following ability, which is an aura. So while an enemy unit is within 6 inches of the bearer, the unit cannot make use of any rules that allow them to fight first, and never counts the unit as making a charge that turn, irrespective of any abilities they may have. So this one's okay, as your foul blightspawn already denies enemy units to fight first, but sometimes that ability can be overwritten by an opponent's ability who get to fight first, such as Slanesh units. So they normally cancel each other out, and if they did make the charge, then they're just going to fight first. So this relic prevents that from even happening. Now as this elite character has a bit more playability, you may see more of these time to time, especially against certain armies. It's still not a go-to relic though in my opinion. Next is Suppurating Plate, which gives the bearer a 2+ armor save. Not only that, each time the enemy unit fights, after it makes its attack, if your bearer lost any wounds as a result of these attacks, roll a d6, and on a 2+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. So previously this was so much better, as it used to be a mortal wound for every single wound lost to the bearer. Now it's just a single wound, but the 2+ armor save is pretty nice. Now a Demon Prince will happily take this, or a standard Deathguard Chaos Lord, as both of these have an in-1 save. I wouldn't be putting this on any of the other characters for that very reason, as they don't have an in-1 save. The remaining characters that I haven't mentioned that do have in-1 saves are already on a 2+ save, so it would be just wasteful. Now I personally go for the Demon Prince. Who doesn't want an 8 wounded Demon Prince with the fetid wings on a 2+ save that is disgustingly resilient, not to mention a toughness 6 and a 5+ in-1 save. Last but not least, you've got the Plaguebringer. Models that are equipped with a Bale Sword, a Demonic Plague Blade, a Plague Knife, or a Power Sword only. The relic replaces one of those weapons and gives you a Strength +2, -3 AP and 2 damage weapon. It's also a Plague weapon, so you're going to be rerolling 1s to wound. But not only that, each time a model is destroyed as a result of the attack made with this weapon, that model counts as having 2 destroyed models for the purposes of morale this turn. So who can have this relic? A standard Chaos Lord can have this because he can trade his Bale Sword out, which is a nice upgrade for the weapon. The best upgrade unit here is the Biologus Putrifier, as he's only got a simple Plague Knife, which is only a Strength 4 -1 AP 1 damage, so it's a pretty radical jump from that to a Plaguebringer. A Plague Surgeon can also opt to swap out his Bale Sword for this if you wanted him as a better melee character, but I think he's better off staying slightly behind the fight so he can be healing all your guys up. Destroyed models counting as 2 dead models for the purposes of morale tests is a nice little bonus there. It's not the reason why you take the weapon, but it can help you out. So that's the 9 Relics of Decay. If I had to select the top 3 here in no particular order, I'd probably go for the Fugueras Helm to double the range of the Plague Surgeon's aura buff, the Putrid Parry Act for an extra bit of psychic output, especially with a Malignant Plaguecaster, as there's more chance of rolling a 7 or more to throw out mortal wounds. Then the Suppurating Plate for the Demon Prince to have a 2+ save. Now he's going to need it especially with his wings, as he likes to be going up ahead and is much quicker than your slow marching army. So he may end up being targeted by even basic bolter guns, so a 2+ armor save at least gives him a bit more durability. Once he's in combat he should be causing chaos. That's my top 3, let me know yours in the comments below. Guys, if you haven't already, check out our Deathguard playlist where we're going to be continuing to add videos to it, usually reviews of each unit within the new book, so check out the older episodes if you missed those. Drop a like on your way out. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.